Right, so it is the 8th lesson, the electronic presentations, right? So we are simply going to talk about a particular application software, which is called the MS presentations, or like Microsoft presentations. I'm sorry, Microsoft PowerPoint, right? So before that, we have to learn what kind of a thing that we call as a presentation, right? So to talk about the presentation, and here at the beginning, they have taken some approach of presenting some kind of things, like it's a discussion in between two friends, how the things are going to go, right? So let me skip that, the dramatical part, and come straight away to the presentation, right? So in early days where they don't have any tools to do the presentation like today, like projectors and all these things, the presentation was given by several different ways, several different traditional ways, right? So one way is like it can be presented like some things, some particular expressions or some particular thoughts or some particular idea was introduced as dramatically with group of people, or as a speech, right? Or as a manual presentation with the help of lots of pictures and all these things, which we present manually, and which is not a very attractive and very successful thing to do, because if you think about a picture should be something very big to see or to be seen by a very big audience. But on those days where they don't have these projectors and all these things, it was quite hard for them to do so, right? So later, with the technical advancements, they found this device called the overhead projector, or in simple terms, we call it OHP, right? So overhead projector was the first kind of projectors. Still, some of the institutes are using these kind of projectors, and it comes very handy when it comes to several different tasks, some spontaneous tasks. So when it comes to the overhead projector, it is projecting using a light, right? And with another technology, which is created with the help of mirrors, right? So I'll show you a small video to understand what kind of a projector and how the OHP projector is working, right after we discuss the matter, right? So overhead projector, the OHP, was a projector with limited facilities, right? So we didn't, or the mankind didn't have that chance to create very attractive presentations like we are preparing today for the projectors, the multimedia projectors. OHP is not that capable of showing those kind of things, right? So OHP has very limited resources and has only limited capabilities in regarding a projection. But still, it was useful on those days, since it was the only resource, or like it was the first resource to have a particular kind of projection in bigger fonts and in a bigger manner, right? And unlike a multimedia projector, it is very big in size, like it's kind of equal to 10 to 12 projectors in size, right? So they need a particular more room was needed to have a OHP, right? And it has a quite interesting technology, even though it is simple. So let's see from the video that we are going to watch, right? So later, this OHP projection is developed to a different level, where they have found a projector called slide projector, right? So this slide projector is kind of a projector which is going to project a particular photo or particular detail which is given on a film reel, a small film piece, right? So it's kind of a film reel that we were using in manual cameras, right? So not something lengthier than that. It's very short. It can present in a very smaller manner, and some particular picture will be captured first into that film. Then in a laboratory, it will be cleaned and will be prepared as a negative, right? So negative in the sense, early days, when we need to have a photograph, we use a photo reel in the manual cameras and we take photos, right? Unlike digital cameras, the cameras which was using the photo reel has limited amount of pictures. Could be taken limited amount of pictures. I remember I was taking those kind of things like the photo reels are there in several different numbers, like 12 photos can be taken, or 24 photos, or 36 photos, kind of like that, right? Not as much as we want, like we had today, right? So those cameras, those film reels will be taken into a photo lab or a laboratory which clean the photo negative parts. Then later it will be projected into a particular size, the size that we want, right? So similarly, when they are projecting through the slide projector, with the help of the light and the help of that negative of the film reel, will be projecting a particular picture onto a particular screen, right? So it was a little bit advanced and small in size comparing to the OHP, but not as much as advanced today's projectors, which we call the multimedia projectors. So multimedia projectors are very famous now because it is an equipment where we can use to output our graphics to a particular screen, right, with the help of the computer, right? So when we got a projector, we can fix it to a computer and we can see what we are going to see from the monitor by projecting the data that it is being received onto a big screen, right? I think you all have the experience regarding multimedia projectors, right? So it comes in several different sizes nowadays. The technology is much advanced, but the only disadvantage is to see something projected by a multimedia projector clearly, we better have a very darker environment, right? But nowadays they are building up the projectors which has which are acting on the daylight as well. But most of the projectors should be projected in a dark room, right? Like we are watching a cinema, right? So it's the only disadvantage that we are having regarding the loss of light when we are projecting it. Other than that, it gives us numerous amount of benefits, right? So when we are like having it used with the computer, you will be able to project audios, videos, pictures, documents, and all these things on a screen that you want, or else you can choose a particular wall and you can project to that particular wall as well, right? So that's the modern technology that we are using these days, right? Yes. Does it limited time in the sense like, are you referring to the multimedia projector, does it? Yeah, limited time in the sense, does it? Like, like when we are providing the power to a particular projector, the time limit won't be a problem, Putha. But if that projector run on a battery, then yes, time limit will be a problem, right? But when when the projectors are small in size and behave like a pocket projector, then only they are carrying a particular battery. Otherwise, we have to provide the power from the power socket or from the wall socket, right? So power won't be a matter on that kind of projection, right? But when you are projecting it using a battery, yes, it will be a problem. All right, so let's write some things down and then we'll go and see how the OHP and slide projector is working. All right, so let's copy this down, people. Copy the heading, electronic presentation. It's the 8th unit. Then let's straight away come to the points. We are not going to write any more subheadings. So copy this line first, and I will highlight the things that need you to get copied, right? Dihan, last week පුතා අපි paper එකක් discuss කරේ. ඊට කලින් week එකේ ලියපු ටික නම් පුතාට යාළුවෙක්ගෙන් හොයන්න වෙනවා. Right, can someone tell me how many pages we went week before? We didn't wrote anything neither. We were discussing the tute. Yes, Dihan, we didn't wrote anything. We were discussing the operating system note now. So I have given you the note. We didn't wrote anything for that reason. Yeah, you better, Dihan. Yeah, now people write this particular things as one paragraph and this particular things as the second paragraph, right? OHP එක ගැන එකට ලියා ගන්න second paragraph විදිහට. Let me know when you are done. Okay, one is done. How about the others? Anyone who is still writing? Okay, Gavindu. Right. So people who are still writing can complete it. The people who have completed, you can go for the next paragraph and have these things. Yeah, it's better. It's better you copy the entire paragraph. No problem, Dihan. මට පොතේ වෙනම මැසේජ් එකක් දාලා තියන්න මම එතකොට ඉන්ස්ටිටියුට් එකට ඉන්ෆෝම් කරන්න. Right? Dihan, next year grade 10 class එක තියෙන්නේ Saturday morning පුතා. 7 to 9 තමයි සිංහල medium එක තියෙන්නේ, 9 to 11 තමයි English medium එක තියෙන්නේ. Okay, 2 are done. How about others? All right, so if you are done with the slide projector, then you have to write about the multimedia projector. Yeah, you can copy these then after regarding the multimedia projector, this part. All right, one is done. How about others? Anyone who is still writing this? Okay, okay, Anuhas. All right, Govindu, you can complete. So hurry up and let me know. Okay, Anuhas is done. How about Govindu? Right, so moving forward. So the next is to talk about what are the good qualities, or like what are the characteristics of a good quality presentation, right? So when we are creating a presentation, you will see in the presentation software, we use a component called slide, right? Slide is kind of a page of a book, right? So what we are going to do is we are going to present the things slide by slide in an electronic presentation. So here they are talking about the contents that we can put inside the slide and how should we put those contents onto the slide, right? So the first quality that we have to maintain is the number of lines of a particular slide. Right now, when it comes to the presentation, present to a particular audience, right? Before we go for that, we have to see the videos, neither. Right, okay. So let's jump into the videos and come people, otherwise you will forget, or like we have to talk about it after the videos. Hold on. Yeah, Chamat, I'm thinking about starting the physical classes, but still there is no solid timetable or solid answer regarding that. So I hope I will be able to give you a answer within this week. And to the question that I was asking in the group, most of you have asked me to continue the online classes, right? But there will be a particular moment where we have to start the physical classes anyway, right? We'll see, right? And I was asking for the parents' confirmation regarding the starting of physical classes. I think every one of you have sent me the parents' confirmation to that WhatsApp group, right? So let's see how it's going to happen, right? Okay, so now this is going to be the video regarding the overhead projector, and it has some it has some description. I'll take you to the most important parts, right? So let me share the screen with sound. And here you go.
We're here to talk about PowerPoint and its creation, but before I can really talk about PowerPoint in 1984, what we were thinking, I have to describe how presentations were given at the time. And one of the methods was used was 35 millimeter slides in large auditoriums. And those are still around, although not really used. The more common method was this device, an overhead projector. And this could be used anywhere. It wasn't very expensive. And schools all had these. And most business offices that did any sort of presentation stuff would have one too. And there's a big projector bulb down in the bottom with a fan keeping it cool, and a Fresnel lens to distribute the light evenly over the surface. And then it projects the light up through a reflector here, which then projects onto the screen. So these could be used in a moderately lit room so that you didn't have to have a big darkened room like a 35 millimeter slide in an auditorium. In schools, these were often used by teachers that just wrote on the transparency material, which is this kind of material that was just laid over the top. And you could write directly while you were talking, and because you had, complete freedom to write, draw, do anything else, or even use colored pens.
So that is the way that they are going to present things on the screen. So like using that transparent sheet, they are going to write it on that particular transparent sheet, right? So even we can write the things by the permanent marker or a whiteboard marker as well, right? It will give you the same particular output, right?
The presentation materials could be anything you wanted. However, they were a little crude. And more often, for more formal occasions, the slides were made by typing on a typewriter. The type was fairly small, and for some typewriters, particularly the IBM typewriter, there was a large print type element that you could get that would produce type that was a little taller than normal type. And those were used for a lot of presentations too. Then PowerPoint could create this type of presentation material much nicer. And in particular, Apple had a laser printer. This was the dawning days of laser printers, and well before inkjet printers. So the laser printer produced beautiful, crisp text, but the typical ones of the day produced very small. There was presentations that looked more like this.
He is using a printout, which is where they use a laser printer to print the characters onto this transparent sheet. Right now, earlier they write the things on the transparent sheet using a special pen. Here they have printed that out. And again, someone was asking, is there any specific or special transparent sheet for the OHP? Like there are many transparent sheet in the market. So we normally take a very thin or like a less GSM paper, which we call as OHP papers, right? From the bookshop, we can specifically ask for the OHP papers, right? It is very, not a very thick paper, it's very thin paper. And we can write the things, and as well as some other transparent sheets can also be used over there. But to have something like this that the video shows, you should print your particular presentation onto the transparent sheet. Then only you will be able to project it using the OHP. All right, so let's see how he's going to do that.
So this is a slide actually produced on PowerPoint, and you'd have this beautiful typeset looking text. It was still kind of crude because the presenter had to put slides up on the table, manually, and little tricks like showing bullet points one at a time was usually done by putting a piece of paper over the top of the transparency, and as you talked, sliding down the paper to reveal the points one at a time. This was typically frustrating for the audience because this looked kind of bad, and they were always getting little glimpses of what was coming and then having it covered up and so forth. But that was the way presentations were done, and they were black and white because there was no color laser printing, and there was, in general, color printing was only a very low resolution prospect. So you could get some fairly nice looking black and white slides. Here's one with a picture of a computer screen from PowerPoint in it. So, but they were limited to black and white.
So that will be the function of the OHP, and this is going to show you the function of the particular slide projector, right? So let's start to see that.
What we do here is go back.
And if you look closely in this video, the particular presenter will show you that the small film that they are using to project these particular pictures.
To just give you a little background about this projector, a few years ago, our grandfather passed away. He was a really big film photographer, just a big photographer in general, really. He took photos of anything and everything.
Yeah, now those are the films that they are using, right? This square type of thing at the middle, they have a small film, so they can capture a particular image to that particular film.
In general, really, he took photos of anything and everything. He always had his camera on him, and
yeah, look at that.
Yeah, it was just
again
a really kind of inadvertent inspiration in my photography career that I never really realized, but because I was so young when he passed. But it's interesting now because I'm able to look through all of his old stuff. Some of our old family members saved his old film slides, the projector, and a lot of his other stuff, and I finally was able to get my hands on some of it just to digitize it for the family and send it out to them. When I first saw the projector itself, I just started playing with it, pressing buttons, seeing what it did, seeing how it worked, just pulling the knobs, playing with the lenses, things like that. And eventually you see a photo on the wall, and it's just a really...
Yeah, now you can see that a particular white color slide going up and down in each of the rotation, right, during the rotation. So it sets the film to be projected to the wall from there, right? Look closely.
Really unique experience. It's similar to when you give someone a Polaroid. It's that physical medium and that physical vintage kind of quality that just sets it apart from just texting a photo to someone. I think when they go over to the carousel and they see it on the projector, and then they go and look at the screen or the wall.
Yeah, but again, it is limited. Only the things that can be captured to the film will be able to see.
Wherever the photo is being projected onto, and they see that actual photo, it's just a really incredible experience that you can't really replicate anymore. Obviously there's projectors now, but that film projector, like that carousel feel, it's just really, really fun to share with other people. This is the Kodak Carousel Projector autofocus model. It's the 850H. in case you're interested in checking it out. It's really, really cool.
So
and
it is
I'm
talking about
super
the technical
excited
side,
and
which we are not that much interest of. Like, so you can watch the video, you can find it from the YouTube, right? So that is how the OHP and the slide projector works, right? Now let's get back into these characteristics of a good quality presentation. And we were talking about number of lines that can be used on a slide, on a particular slide, right? So when it comes to the number of lines, we always say it's better we limit it in between 6 and 9, right? And even for a one particular line, 7 to 9 words is sufficient, right? And remember, people, a presentation does not mean that you are having the entire content on the slide and you are allowing the audience to read that slide from top to bottom. It is not a presentation. It's kind of a newspaper kind of a thing, right? So here the audience does not need to read the slides from the top, from like top to bottom. Slide is going to be something which helps the audience to understand what the presenter is going to talk about. Like, so as an example, if I'm going to talk about a computer, I'm having a picture of the computer. If I'm going to talk about a random access memory, I'm having a picture of the random access memory, right? So it will, presentation will help us to convey our idea easily into the audience. And again, it will be a factor for the audience to get focus with the presentation, right? So here, to maintain the good quality, we have to maintain number of lines in the number between 6 and 9, right? And font size, yes, of course, it is something to be considered, because when we are presenting something, we are presenting it to an audience. So audience are like a little bit far away from the presenter, right? So if you use small fonts, audience won't be able to capture what are the fonts are. So it's much better we create our presentation where we can read that particular things on it in a sizable manner, right? So like generally we say 32 point height, or like 32 size will be a better size for the presentations. It's not good to use something less than that, but occasionally, sometimes there will be some places where we have to use a particular font size lower than 32, but it's very rare. And it's better you make it bigger. Like, making it bigger does not mean it should be like bigger as much as it can. So according to this slide, it's better we go on, all right? And correct use of grammar and language, that's a pretty straightforward thing, because without the correct grammar and language, the idea will not be moved to the audience. So they won't be able to capture the things as easy as the presenter wants, all right? And inserting images, drawings, tables, or graphs. So like, this is pretty important. Like we as an idiom, we say a picture says 1,000 words, right? But use of pictures should be limited to its maximum as 2 according to the size of the picture. So otherwise, like putting a lot of pictures on a particular slide will make it very crowd, right? Hold on a second, people. Right, sorry for that. So as I told you, like large number of images will make the presentation a mess, right? So presentation should be something very neat when you are presenting. So having images will benefit the presentation, but having it too much will make the audience like either the unclear or the tired regarding the content, right? So they have to focus on a lot of pictures, right, on that particular scenario. Same goes with the tables and the graphs, right? So it should be very relevant, very simple, and very understandable, right? And use of colors. This is another thing that you need to consider when you are doing a presentation. Like when there are two ways that we can use this. We simply say the content and the background should be contrast from each other, right? So like that means if you are having a black or a darker background, it's better you have lighter colors for the fonts. And goes the vice versa. If you are having a lighter background, it's better you have darker colors for the fonts. As well as when we are using a font, when you are choosing a font, that font, it's better that font has some dents inside it, right? Like if it does not have that dents or that thickness with the font, it's better you use the bold face with a particular font, all right? And again, red is not some color where we are going to use it hugely on a presentation because it tired up the audience eyes. But if you want to emphasize something or if you want to say something thoroughly, then we use red colors. Wait, Susudat is going to come, right? So we use red to emphasize something or to show something thoroughly on your presentation. That is where we use the red, right? Suhara, wait, that will come sooner. And when it comes to the animations and video, same story goes like the images and drawings, right? So it's better you use only one animation or just one video per slide, right? Having lots of videos in a slide again will take away the audience attention from the presenter. Now, always remember, people, like when we are presenting something, it's not only the presentation that the audience should focus. Presenter should also grab some attention from the audience, right? So if you are like showing a particular video, either the presenter should be stay without talking, just giving the concentration to the video, or otherwise he should pause the video and should talk in between, right? And this is something pretty important. Pay attention on target group. Like when you are creating a presentation, you should have the idea to which people, to which kind of group that you are going to present that particular presentation, right? So it should be appropriate for that particular group. Like as an example, if you are presenting something to primary students, the presentation should be something related to the primary students, something very colorful, something with some cartoons, right? So they will keep their attention to the that particular presentation, right? So likewise, the creator, the one who is designing the presentation, should have the idea to which particular age group or the target group that I'm going to create this presentation, right? Okay, so before we jump to the presentation software, let's quickly write this down, right? Okay, so have the heading, people, the characteristics of good quality presentation. Right, so put number 1 and have these 2 lines for that. Number 1, no, you can have a star as well. It doesn't matter. Not yet, Suzu. Give me some. So people who have done with the font number of lines, go with the font size, people. And let me know when you are done. Okay, one is done. How about others?
This one, and you use this.
I'll move like this, people. So it's better you have the entire thing regarding the correct use of grammar and language. I'm moving a little bit forward, people. So if you miss anything, just let me know. Otherwise, I'm highlighting the part that you want to write, so you will continue. All right, two are done. I'm moving forward.
Me.
So regarding use
I'm
of
moving
colors,
forward. I'm moving forward, Daddy. All by myself.
okay.
You know, I move.
Right, I'm moving forward. If you miss anything, just let me know, people, right? If anyone need the previous parts, just let me know. So this is things regarding the use of colors. Right, 3 are done. How about others? Moving forward regarding the animations and videos, you have to go through the next 2 lines. Once we finish this, we can end the session, people, right? So let's finish this first.
Is this what you mean? Is this
That is not Suzo.
Oh. Let's try Pep again. Lots of peppers on it.
I'll come with the picture. All right, so yeah, here comes the last part.
Really?
So pay attention on the target group.
Really?
Yeah, and this line should be there as well. Right, so once you are done with this, you can leave the session, people. So I'm ending the session from that point. So I will stay until you all are leaving, right? So have a very good night, people. We are going to meet on next week. I'll tell you how, right? Whether it is from physical or online, right? So let me confirm. Then we'll see how it's going to continue, right? So have a very good night, people. I'll stay until you are done with this.